Hello everyone, welcome to this channel ML Guru. My name is Arjun Pukari. In this video, we will start with logistic regression model, and to start with, we will start with the case of single variable. So in this case, the kind of data which you will see is something of this type. Now in this data you can see that this is a data of a car company which wants to advertise their new model. So this is the past data so far. In this, the first column is the salary in lakhs per annum, and the second column is whether that person buys a car or not. So this has two parts. You can split this data set into two parts. The first part is called is denoted with capital X, and the second part can be denoted by capital Y. This X is called as the input feature, and since there is only one column in X, there is only single feature or single variable. The next column, which is denoted by capital Y, is called as the true label. Now in this, as you can see, the Y column contains only two discrete classes, which are 0 and 1, and hence it is called as the binary classification problem. This 0 here denotes that the person with a salary of 3 LPA did not purchase the car, and the true label of 1 indicates that the person with this much salary has purchased the car. Now let's convert this tabular format into graphical format. So each point or each row in this table is represented as a single point in this figure. Your x-axis contains the salary in LPA, and this y-axis contains the true label, means whether that person or user had bought the car or not. So I have denoted the class 1 with red color and class 0 with green color. Now what is the task here? We have to perform classification. More specifically, we have to perform the binary classification. Now what does this mean? It means that after training the model, if we give any test input, as you can see in this figure, I have marked 3 test inputs with black cross. So for each of these test input, the model has to predict that whether these points belong to class 0 or class 1. So you have your data, you train your model on this data, and after training your model, when you pass any test input, this input corresponds to the salary in LPA, then this model must give output give its output or prediction that whether this particular input belongs to class 0 or class 1. Now let's see how we model this. Now by modeling, we mean that which mathematical function which should fit on this type of data. So we will start with a simple step function. The step function is very simple function which you can see in this figure denoted in blue color. So in this we select a threshold. Let's say we select a threshold of 6.5 LPA. So all the points which are less than 6.5 LPA will be classified as 0, and all the points which are equal to 6.4 or greater than 6.5 is classified as 1. So this is our threshold, and based on this threshold, if this particular value of x is greater than the threshold, we classify as 1, and if it's less than this threshold, we classify it as class 0. Now you can see there are many problems in this function. Now if you see, suppose a person has a salary of 6.49 LPA, so it will be somewhere around here, which is just towards the left of this threshold. Now this particular point will be classified as 0 according to the model. On the other hand, if a person has a salary somewhere around 6.51, which is just towards the right side of this threshold, this point is classified as 1. Now if you see, there is not much difference between these two figures, but still this model is doing very harsh classification uh, because these 2 points are very close to each other, and still one point gets classified as 0 and 1 point gets classified as 1. But in reality, it sounds very unrealistic. So some of the problems are it has harsh transition as we discussed now. The second point is it is non-differentiable. Why? Because you can see at this point of at the point of threshold, which is 6.5 in this case, the model is not smooth. Hence, it is not differentiable. And as we have seen in linear regression as well, when we use gradient descent, we calculate derivatives. But if this function is not differentiable, we cannot use gradient descent. So this is one of the big disadvantage of this model. So we need a very smooth model compared to the step function. So this type of smooth models which you can see in this figure, which has somewhat S shape, is known as the sigmoid function. So let's look at the sigmoid function in detail. So here in this figure I have plotted the step function in red color and your sigmoid function in blue color. The equation of this sigmoid function is given in this slide. It is denoted by this g of x, where z is the input to the model, and the equation is 1 over 1 plus e power minus z. And here you can see that on x-axis we have this z, which acts as input to this sigmoid function, and y denotes your output. Now let's look at some of the properties of this sigmoid function. So this sigmoid function takes any real valued input. In this case, the real valued input is denoted by z. So it takes any z on this axis and it will output a value which will be between 0 and 1. And hence, this model compresses any type of input between 0 and 1. And hence, the output of this model can be interpreted as a probability. Why? Because probability also has its output ranging between 0 and 1. So you can say this sigmoid function is bounded between 0 and 1. The next important point is that is the point of threshold. Now what is the point of threshold? It is that particular value of z at which the model outputs the value of 0.5. Now in this case, with this particular type of equation, if you notice, the model will output 0.5 when the value of z will be 0. So at z is equal to 0, your model will output 0.5. So this particular point z is equal to 0 is your threshold point. The next important point to note here is it gives you a smooth transition as we have discussed earlier. And since it is continuous and smooth, it is a differentiable function. And since it is differentiable, we can use gradient descent on this. Now see here, this was our data, this is our x part and this is our y part. And here I have, in the graphical form of this tabular data, I have fitted a sigmoid function. Now let's look at some notations. Here x contains just one column. We denote this column by x. Here x briefly means that any input which denotes the salary in LP. So this particular model has only single feature or single variable. Now each row in this data set can be represented a tuple which contains two values. The first one is denoted as xi and the second one is denoted as yi, where I denotes the row number. For example, you can represent this second row by x2, y2, which is nothing but 4.5, 0. And let w be the weight and b be the bias associated with this x. Now, as we have seen earlier as well, in case of linear regression, we do not pass this x directly to our model. We first multiply it by w, which is your weight, and add the bias. Now, as told earlier, this g of z represents your sigmoid function, and let y hat be the prediction on input x. Here, x means salary in LP in our example. So instead of this z, now you will input wx plus b to your sigmoid function, which is denoted by g. So now this equation becomes this. In this, the only difference is that instead of z, you put wx plus b. Now let's say someone has given me the parameters w and b, which is equal to 3 and minus 20. So let's substitute these values in this equation. Then we get this particular equation. Now let's say we take the fifth row, which is 7.5, 1, and let's take the value x5, which is 7.1, and input this inside this sigmoid function. So the output which you will get will be 0.921. Also, you can see graphically 7.5 will be somewhere around here, and the value will be something around 0.9, and the actual value here is 0.9241. So if you multiply this value by 100, it will convert it into percentage. So what this output tells us that, as I told you earlier, this denotes the probability of the class 1. So 92.41% probability of user buying the car. Now if you subtract this number from 100, then you will get the percentage probability of the user not buying the car. In this case, 100 minus 92.41 is 7.59, means there is 7.59% probability of the user not buying the car. So in this way, you can calculate the probability of the user buying the car, which corresponds to the class 1, and also when you subtract it from 100, you can calculate the probability of the user not buying the car, which denotes the class 0. Now it is not compulsion to use the input from this table. You can pass any input x, but this x should denote the salary LPA. Now if you for example, let's say a user has salary of 6 LPA. Now when we input this test input in this model, it outputs 0.12. Also you can see in this figure 6 is somewhere around here and the value is 0.19. Now if you multiply this by 100, it means that there is 12% probability of this user buying the car, or if you subtract this number from 100, it gives 88%, means there's 88% probability of the user not buying the car. Now let's discuss about the threshold point, which we had discussed a little earlier. Now as I had told earlier, the threshold point is that particular value of z at which the model outputs 0.5 as output. So according to this equation, when you set the value of z is equal to 0, your model will output 0.5. But as you know, instead of z, we are passing the value wx plus b. So for our case, our sigmoid function, which is denoted by y hat, or our prediction, will output 0.5 when this particular thing, which is wx plus b, becomes 0, because this z here denotes wx plus b. Now on solving this equation, we get the value of x equal to minus b by w, and this particular value of x is known as the threshold point. Now you can see here, I have plotted a sigmoid function graphical. So here I have written the equation of a model, which is 1 over 1 plus e power minus wx plus b, and I have we will play with the different values of w and b, and we have also plotted the threshold point, which we had just seen now, which is given by minus b by w. So let's initially set the value of b to 0. So now you can see initially the value of w is 5. So, and this pink line here denotes the threshold point. Currently it is 0, because the value of b is 0, this x becomes 0. Okay, so this pink line which you can see here denotes the threshold. Now let's increase the value of w. So as you can see, as we increase the value of w, the slope becomes more and more positive. So remember this thing, if your w or the weight is positive and you increase it further, your slope of this particular sigmoid function will also increase positively. Now let's go towards the negative side. Now I have initialized w equal to -1, and now the slope has also become negative. And if you even more decrease the value of w, the slope becomes more and more steep in the negative direction. So as you can see, the slope is becoming more and more negative. So now we have seen how this function varies while changing the value of w. Now let's play with this threshold point. Now let's say I have initialized the value of w to 5. So here you can see in the denominator the value of w has been fixed to 5. Now I will keep changing the value of b. Now let's say I will increase the value of b. So as you can see, this particular thing will go towards left side because there is a minus sign over here. So let's see this. So as you can see, I am increasing the value of b. The if you ignore the minus sign, this particular ratio will increase. But since there is negative sign, it will increase towards the negative side. So as we increase the value of b, the threshold point, which you can see by this pink line, also you can see its value over here. Is going towards left side. Okay. Now let's see what will happen. It will if we will set the value of b in the negative direction. So if you see here, if the value of b is negative, this negative and negative will become positive, and if the magnitude of b will increase, the threshold point will move towards right side. Now let's see this visually. I'm decreasing the value of b, and as you can see, the threshold point is moving towards right side. Okay, so this is how you can play with different values of w and b. Now let's say we have fixed our threshold, let's say to b is equal to 5. Now what will happen if we will vary the value of w? So in this equation, as you can see, uh, in the case when our w is equal to positive, and if we increase the value of w over here, it will tend to move towards the left side of 0. So as you can see, if we increase, it moves towards the left side of 0. It becomes closer and closer to 0. Okay, now if we go on the other side, you can see the value of w is negative. So w and w, this negative and negative becomes positive, and hence this w in the denominator is increasing. This value move towards the right side of the 0. So as you can see, it is moving closer and closer to 0. I hope you have understood the sigmoid function or the logistic regression function in the case of single variable. Thank you.